few moments later.
Guys, what's going on? We're back in the garage. It's been like 3 weeks since I've been here. I've been just procrastinating flat out, which is just how I live my life.
That's the way you live your life, scumbag.
But we're back. I'm gonna start putting everything back together in the car. As you can see, absolutely nothing has changed. Only thing I've done is just clean up this stuff. It was covered in oil, clean up all the silicone around here, clean up the oil that was on the back of the supercharger. I've been waiting to get some new gaskets. They had to come from America. So these are all as a gasket kit for the Supercharger 210, but I mean, half of these I don't even know what they do. One of them is just like a really long coil. I bought these, which are supposed to be like the standard stock freaking ones that you use, but man, there's no way. I don't even know how you can get this in there. It's so thick and like way too deep. So I don't know. That's the one that's in there. There's one in there now. I don't know if you can see it, but it's literally flat. So I don't know. Maybe that's what this is for. You just roll them in, but. So I'm just gonna start by putting the headers back on, which have been off. That's like a 2-second job. And then I'll get into putting all the gaskets on the supercharger, putting everything back together in the supercharger. Then I'll put the cooler back on. And then I will be silicone the crap out of everything, making sure there's no leaks. And then we'll just slap it back on the car, put the injectors back in. And yeah, it's a reasonably good day. Good day for filming. One thing I noticed when I was pulling the extractors off, or the headers off, which I'm spewing about, but there's a little oil leak here. I just wiped it away, but so that's from when we redid the timing cover. Obviously, can't really see exactly, but obviously didn't do a good enough job. So it's pretty disappointing. Obviously, all the work that went into like pulling that off and stuff. It's definitely not something I'm going to be fixing. Just gonna have to put up with it for now. So now I'm just gonna start applying all the gaskets to like everywhere they need to go. I ended up actually, the ones that I thought were missing, they are here, they're here. So they will replace those. You can see like how flat these are. So the new one's nice and round. You can't even see it, but you get the gist. So we'll start putting them all back in there. I got to put all these little ones around here, which seal up for where the intercooler hose goes in. Big gasket on that. And a gasket in here. And a gasket in there. So I'll just start slapping them back together. Now I can drop the intercooler back in here, silicone the absolute buggery out of it, and then, you know, put the injectors back on, maybe do the fuel rail while it's on there. You can see here I tried to put the old gasket back on the supercharger, and like obviously from when I pulled it out, it's just like super stretched. So that was one of the main reasons I wanted to make sure that I got new ones, just because like the old ones weren't going back in properly and they're all dicky. I don't want to have to be doing this again, so rather just do it properly now. I'm gonna have to worry about it later. And I also went ahead and replaced all these. These are like, they used to come on a plastic thread. So I went and got all brass ones, just Tefloned them up, slapped them in. Cleaned the absolute buggery out of this. It was all filled with oil, so it should be perfect when we put it back together. All right, so I'm just putting some gaskets in. I got this one on the elbow. You gotta be real careful when you push the actual gasket in, because like if you feed it around, like I did it with this one, you push it around and then it ends up being like way too long at the end. You really gotta kind of set it where it's gotta go and then push down. So this really long one, it doesn't have an end, like, you know, it's not connected. So I'm assuming that's for the supercharger, because it's kind of fiddly. I guess you can push it around and then you can just cut off whatever's left over. Luckily I had some gasket grease from the fuel pump install that I did that I never used. So I'm just gonna slap that on, get all this in, and then keep chipping away. I just dropped the goo in the supercharger. So I'm just kind of like holding it up and then just kind of feeding it into where it needs to go. Before I was like running my hand along to get it in, and it was like stretching the crap out of the gasket, which made it ended up being way too long. With this one it'd be fine, but on the ones that are circle, it like really screws you up. Shut up. Bloody beautiful, mate. Very nice. That gasket goo, like, you definitely could not have done that easy without that, 100%. Definitely glad I had that lying around, because the kit didn't come with any of it. I'm just getting ready to put the intercooler back on. Just gonna reverse how I pulled it out. There isn't any like specific instructions for putting the intercooler back in, but when I pulled it out, it had like all silicone around here and in here. So I'm just gonna put like a finger's worth of silicone around there. Then I can put seal around here, and then I can just slap it back in. Just got it in the sun, making sure there's no water in it. She's in. Alright, so next up I just got to put these little, these are for the cooler, just got to go in there. But the new gaskets, when I put these on, I can't get it in here. It's like they're too thick. So it's looking like I might have to just go back to the old ones and just put them in and just silicone the absolute buggery out of it. You can see here, like this is the one I got, the new ones, and that's the old ones. I don't know if that's going to come up on camera, but they're way thinner. So I'm just gonna have to use the old ones. They look pretty worn, but stick them in there, silicone the arse out of it. These are the two most important seals, these ones and those ones, because if they leak, then you've got a big issue. Alright, so I've gone ahead, sealed, siliconed all around here. And then I've also gone and siliconed all around the supercharger. Hopefully this stuff's good. Time has come. Make sure there's no debris in the supercharger. Alright, charger's on. Heaps of over squeeze. I put I put a heap on, silicone on, just to make sure there was no leaks. On the inside of the supercharger, it's like a really flat surface, so you can't really put like too much silicone on the inside because it can't fall into anywhere. It's just flat, so it just gets squashed flat. And then like the actual intake of the supercharger is only like right in the middle. So I kind of just put too much in just to make sure that we weren't going to get any leaks. Now I'll just get all the rest of these bolts in. I forgot, like these slide in. Oh man, I might need to do this. Oh no, all good. These are supposed to go in there. That keeps that, just in case there's any pressure on these. I'm gonna shit my pants in. I thought I was gonna have to take it off. And yeah, put one in here as well. And when the bolts go on, it keeps them tight. Bloody beautiful. All right, got everything back on. Sealed everything down. Tightened everything up. I'm tripping because remember I broke a nut and I've still got one left over somehow. I can't even remember what these are for. Maybe they're for when the elbow goes on. Oh yeah, the one's for the elbow. I'm always pulling stuff apart, and then when I put it back together, I've always got like way too many screws left over. So I'm gonna pull these O-rings out for the injectors, give them a clean, make sure it's all clean in there. And then I can start putting the gases back on the manifold, and then we can just slap it back on the car, so it should be right. It's I'm going slow. I want to make sure it's all done properly. So yeah, I've already put the elbow on the car because I remember it was really hard last time. So yeah, it should be right. All right. So from factory, they don't have silicone on this on the intake manifold, but you can see here this is oil, like old oil that's been it's been making its way out. That's from when I didn't have the catch can and oil was getting back through blow-by. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of silicone on there, so that way if that happens again, if there's any, I just don't want you don't want to be getting any vacuum leaks like that. So if there's any air coming out, I want to stop it. So I'm just gonna put silicone down there, even though they don't do it from factory, just to make sure it's all good. I'm only just gonna put a little bit, just to make sure it's all good. All right, so I just threw those little gaskets on, just for silicone them up. I've just been going over the engine bay, making sure everything's accessible for when I put this on. So I'll put these rags out of the heads, and that's where the intake will be going on. I've got the elbow cable tied up, so it's out of the way. There's a few things here, like, man, I can't remember. I don't remember where I even pulled that off. So hopefully once I put everything back on, everything else will make sense. But yeah, we're just about ready to get it done. I'm just triple checking everything, making sure it's all done. Do not want to be doing this again. All right, the time has come. It's going back on the car. Silicone around the intake, charger's on. Everything's out of the way. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous, but let's see how we go. Alright, pretty sure I'm about to blow my back out. We'll give it a crack. Alright, made a little bit of progress. Got some stuff buttoned up, the injectors are back on with the fuel rail. I've been friggin', there's like an extra plug here, connection. I could not figure out what it was for. That's for the map sensor. I was freaking looking around for ages. I think this has been deleted from the last time it was at the mechanic. I'm pretty sure, like, see, this is blue. That one's blue there. I'm pretty sure that used to go in there, but they got deleted it and ran it to like this freaking thing here. I don't know. I was dead set just looking around the car for like 20 minutes trying to find where that plug went, because I didn't want to put anything else on in case it had to come off. I was worried that maybe the connection was under the manifold because there's like heaps of room under there. But I did like triple check, so that must be what it is. We'll see what happens when I put it back together. If it doesn't start, then it was definitely for something. Try and put this elbow back on, got it siliconed up. This is going to be an absolute bastard of a job. I should have put it on the charger when it was off, but I remembered it was real hard to get off when I was pulling it off, so I took it off separately. Yeah, definitely. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to get these hoses on because they're like real hard to get on, but then they were sweet because they're the brass ones. So we'll see what happens. Alright, got 3 bolts along the top. Actually, I only got 2. 2 bolts on the top. This one like just rounded out, and I got 1 on the bottom. And there's those 2 that I'm missing. There's one in the car, I think, and then there's 1 that I broke. So that should hold it now. Let the silicone dry. Alright, we've made a fair bit of progress today so far. Everything's pretty well buttoned up. Got the map sensor on, throttle body on. I'm not going to put the air intake on yet just because it's just going to be in the way. There's no need. I just need to get the fuel rail covers on, and then you can like mount I can mount the ECU to that. But that's not like a major rush. They don't even really need to be on. I'm just gonna, this tensioner pulley is like super squeaky. So I'm gonna remove that and then get a new one tomorrow and fix that. Then I can put the belt on and get the car running. It's the only thing really stopping me at the moment. The car's pretty much all good, it's all back together, so apart from the intake and that. So I could literally put it together now if I wanted to, put the belt on and get it going, but I just want to fix that tensioner pulley. It's been squeaking ever since I got it. It's super annoying, so it'd be stupid not to fix it now. I tell you what, I'm glad I bought this freaking gasket kit. It was 160 bucks all up. I had to get delivered from America. I'm finished with the job and I have all these. I have no idea what they're even for. Like, I don't know what the hell that's for. Those, for what I think they were, I couldn't use them. That, I only needed 1. I'm glad I waited ages and spent 160 bucks on those gaskets. They obviously went to good use. I probably could have just gone down to the local shop and just got them from there for like $2.